And welcome back, everybody, to Season 2 of the Universal Open. And there was a brisk bracket update for you. If you didn't catch it, don't worry about it. It was a bit quick for everybody. But welcome back, everybody. Of course, we're ready for our final game of the day here for the Western Closed Qualifiers. It's going to be SizzleUrCob taking on Lights Out. Two teams that will be very interesting to watch, and of course, SizzleUrCob. I know that I'm looking at you at the moment, Shogun, because I know that you've got a little bit of a favourite here.
Yeah, I think there's a favourite of a lot of people out there when it comes to SizzleUrCob. Definitely one of the, I think you'll know it like from our time doing other tournaments. You know, the way Doomsy was sort of, everyone sort of loved Doomsy. Everyone loves Jacob. Everyone loves Jacob. A lot of people love Sizz. He can be, he can be a bit much for some people out there, but you know, he's the two very funny lads from the community that can also play. It's very rare that you get personality and gameplay out from a team, and these guys have definitely got that. Probably one of the top contenders when it comes to the Western region. It's between them and, like you said earlier on, Applesauce, G2. Yeah. Very much a toss-up there as to who's going to make it. But they had a very good showing last season, I think.
Third place.
Yeah,
in the grand finals.
They were doing so well, and then they got sort of reverse swept. There was a period of time where they just couldn't get anything going for themselves. So they did incredibly well last season. They're looking to try and replicate that this season.
They had to go all the way through the lower bracket. It was not fun. So
it's never fun to go all the way through the loser bracket unless you win. Because then it's like the best feeling in the world. But, you know, sometimes you've got to take the rough with the smooth. But Lights Out, tell us a little bit about this squad.
Yeah, so I actually just had my notes up, and I'm going to pull them back up. But Lights Out, you know, this is a team that, in terms of the RLCS, has been like, here's the RLCS in qualifying, and Lights Out has been right here every single time. So unbelievably close every year, and they've never made it. So it's two players who are well acquainted with playing at the top level, Aeon and Nomad. Nomad has been a part of plenty of top-level teams. He used to play with Karma for a little bit on, what was it, Freestylers in Disguise, I think?
Yeah.
So that was always a lot of fun. But they know, you know, what's up at the top level. They've just never quite made it. It's like if you took King Doom from last week and spanned it over multiple seasons.
I think my favourite term for that is always the bridesmaid.
Always
never the bride.
The bridesmaid.
Never the
exactly.
Never the bride. And hopefully they can change that this time. You never know. You never know with these. It's a tough ask, though, for them, right?
Especially with SizzleUrCob. Oh, goodness. If I'm Lights Out, I'm thinking, great, here comes the losers bracket.
Oh, that's negative. That's a negative attitude. That's a very negative attitude. And I was
got these guys
and I hadn't even got to Shogun's opinion on things
yet.
I've
got them qualifying for the grand
put
finals.
Me in the worst position right now because now I've got to be the opposite side.
Be the good guy.
Do you?
On set, give me a second. Okay, I'll be ready to be positive.
Never done this before. Okay, come on.
I'm ready.
What do you got for us?
Okay.
I believe that you are completely wrong here, because there is every opportunity. This is Rocket League, my friend. Anything can happen at any moment in time. Lights Out are about to turn lights on this game.
Ooh.
I'm tired now.
Wow, okay, all right, that was insincere, but obviously we want to get into our game number 1 as soon as we can, so we'll get into that as soon as we can. But very quickly, gentlemen, are we fancying SizzleUrCob in this one?
I said earlier I think SizzleUrCob make the grand final, so I have to take them here. I can't not.
Okay, Shogun?
Yeah, I've got to go with SizzleUrCob here.
Even after all of the power of positivity that you were throwing away.
Look, I said anything can happen, not that it will.
Okay, well, we want you guys to let us know at home what you think is going to happen in that series as well, in this series as well for our final game. So use that hashtag URS2, send us in your predictions, and we are going to get straight into the game, I believe, right now. So let's get into our game number 1 right now with our final game of the day. It's an upper bracket game once again, so there'll be a second chance here for any of the players who are one of the teams who doesn't actually win this series. But it is going to be our final game of the day, and it's going to be SizzleUrCob taking on Lights Out.
Yeah, but as we saw earlier on set, the fact that the lower bracket has already got teams like Genesis, a lethality team that we saw was exactly that in their earlier series. Avoiding that lower bracket is of paramount importance. Nomad, straight over to Aeon. Jacob taking control early. Jacob's always been a flat car boy. He's never really switched away from that. He's going to keep it going in this series. As Sizz, rocking the Dominus. I mean, not Dominus, it's a Batmobile. You know, they're both flat. It's all good.
Double flat car hype. I like it. Big believer in the flat car hype. I like the power you get out of flat cars. I like the easy ability to flick with flat cars. I like the ability to chip with flat cars. I think flat cars give you a ton of options.
Merc lets me hit it really hard.
Yes, it does. But any car will let you hit it really hard.
Nah, just the Merc.
Oh, what
nice
a bump.
bump there. Sizz with the follow-up, and this is what you have to be very afraid of when you take on SizzleUrCob. Not necessarily going to say it's a lack of caring, but it's an amount of trust that they have in each other of, We can go for this. I don't really care if it doesn't work, because if we can nail this, we are going to do so much.
Ooh, missed the boost there on Jacob, and he still got it. Okay, never mind. But, you know, I realized that I said Aeon and Nomad are thinking, great, wonderful. Here comes the losers bracket. They started off well. That was wrong, says Shogun. But I was about to say, while they are definitely facing an uphill battle, they're definitely not out of the woods yet. And it starts off here. Sizz is so ready to push upfield, expecting a bomb of a clear, but Jacob got tied up in that corner a little bit because he missed that boost, threw off the timing on the rotation for SizzleUrCob, and Aeon and Nomad converted it.
Sizz with the early rotation, seeing the ball coming over to himself. Jacob, I think even he was expecting this much work to be done. He's got to be turning this one. Sizz has passed it off. He's got a bump. Anything outside of turning that ball into the back of the net himself, couldn't have done too much more for that one. Now Jacob, going to go straight over. Sizz has been demoed. It's going to allow a reprieve. Jacob just went out of his way to try and steal that back boost, and he's chasing down Nomad. It's not going to work out just yet. Nomad's doing well off this.
Sizz. Yeah, it actually was a great play from Nomad there. I like the idea from Jacob forcing Nomad off the ball. As if Jacob had got that demo, I mean, if you want to talk about saying, hey, look, you don't get to dribble versus me, it's a fun way to do it. Again, it goes back to what I talked about earlier today, is if that defender has control of that dribble, they control you. And Jacob realized they did not have full control, and he got to control the offense.
Lights Out have done such a good job so far of playing out of the defense. Haven't allowed any space for SizzleUrCob to control the midfield just yet. All the way back, Aeon launches long, and Sizz just going to be forced to control this one. You can see Lights Out not pressing too hard for that second goal. That's going to be just over the top. Sizz, can he follow it?
Oh my goodness!
That is superb gameplay. 1 goal apiece.
Yes, can we get the 1, 2, 3 treatment? 1, a 2, and a 3. That's how many licks it takes to get to the center of the orange net. Brilliant dribble from Sizz.
Yeah, thumb up from me for that description.
Thank you.
SizzleUrCob get us back to 1 goal apiece here. 2 minutes left here in this match. Aeon going to try and bounce this one out. That could be awkward. Sizz has the ball lofted over the top of him, but Jacob already on the backboard. Nomad. Potentially for the double tap. He's got a hold of it. Was being covered on its way down, though, by Sizz. And now Jacob. Off the sidewall by himself. Looks to go over the top of Aeon, who seems to have that covered the entire length. Both of these teams, end-to-end gameplay. Nomad's opportunity. Can't quite get it over the top of Sizz. We've seen Sizz go end-to-end. From he left as Jacob also allows Nomad to take the touch. Pass straight over to Sizz. Double tap available.
Oh.
And just didn't have the boost to get above it.
Short about 20 or so. Great effort, though, from SizzleUrCob. And this has been a great game 1, actually. And Aeon and Nomad have stacked up quite nicely here versus Jacob and Sizz.
Tough angle to hit. Aeon did pretty well, and that is the transition gameplay. Sizz just holding himself in the midfield, waits for the pass.
Yep, this is just a poor touch from Nomad off the back wall. Doesn't have a pass lined up for Aeon, because Aeon's rotating out. It's just, again, that slight dysfunction in the offense. The timing isn't there, the positioning isn't there, and it's just a rush touch. And Jacob says, I've got a pass lined up, and says, put it home.
Yeah, pretty much the moment you know that one's not going to go on target, you have to try and control it or push it up the wall. Give yourselves time to get back into position. Jacob, his touch is pretty loose. Nomad, he's got 44 boost, he can make something of this. And that's going to be the follow-up, and you are 100% correct, Achieves. This is turning into a real match.
Yeah, it's a great touch here from Nomad. Keeps it close, and that's a beautiful flick. I think Sizz might have been trying to do a little bit too much there. I think he would have been better off letting Jacob go for that challenge first, because Sizz had a long way to go. And as soon as he missed that challenge, it just didn't leave Jacob really any room to adjust.
Jacob tries to fake out the first touch, but Nomad's already there. And Sizz, he committed quite heavily. That could be the lead gone if Nomad can reach it. And Nomad, at a stretch, will do exactly that.
So here I am thinking that this game's over at the 57-second mark. And now I think it's over at the 34-second mark in the opposite direction. What a turnaround from game number 1. I love how Aeon and Nomad have approached this game. They haven't let themselves get bullied by Jacob and Sizz. The bumps haven't been affecting them too much. Yes, they've made them think, but they've reacted brilliantly, and they haven't got too tied up on their own half.
Fake kickoff to start us off from SizzleUrCob. Jacob's going to control the midfield by taking the boost. Aeon playing this smart. He's taking his time. He's wasting as much time as possible, and Jacob gets bumped into the save. That keeps SizzleUrCob alive. Jacob controlling the ball. Not well enough, though. It has to get a block. 10 seconds left on the clock.
Oh my
goodness.
That is going to be
straight through. Sizz controlled, or he tried to control over in the corner. Will not happen, and Lights Out are on their way to taking game number 1 and taking their first steps to really, you know, sort of shoving our faces in it.
And you get to see the... It's got to be a... I don't even know how you feel if you're Aeon and Nomad, because I'm sitting here thinking before this game even started, oh great, here comes the losers bracket. They get... Okay, there's 1 second. They can spare me great humiliation here by scoring this one.
So the double fake kickoff doesn't work. So they are learning.
Taking all bets on what happens.
This is going to be a slow kickoff. Actually, it's double side.
Fake?
Launch into it as fast as possible.
Oh, it went up. They have a chance. Oh, I can't reach it. All right, so Lights Out, a clean game number 1. And actually, I think clean is the word I want, because I don't think they really made any mistakes. You know, they played pretty solid defense. They didn't get demoed. They didn't get taken out of position really hardly ever. And they said, look, if you're going to beat us, you're going to have to beat us.
Most importantly, they took their chances as well. An impressive performance there from Lights Out. As you say, Shogun, slightly worried he might be rubbing your faces in it. I'm voting for the Joker cards out already. But game number 1, I mean, SizzleUrCob, they showed moments of brilliance as well, especially some of the goals that we saw from Sizz, I believe, at the start. But, I mean, Lights Out just closing out and clutching up when it mattered.
Yeah, and I've really been impressed with the way that Lights Out are creating their opportunities. There doesn't seem like a rush to it. They recognize, okay, we've got the ball in our own side of the field. We can take our time trying to play this ball away from our side of the net. And it's something that we haven't necessarily seen from a lot of the teams today. And they've done exactly that. They're taking their time. They're giving themselves plenty of space. And that's meant that, you know, they're not getting caught out of position like we have seen.
You know, those goals 2 and 3 that Lights Out scored. The one where Sizz dove in front of Jacob and it left Jacob in a bad spot. And the other one where they just got caught trying to be too aggressive on defense when they really didn't need to. Those are the opportunities that if you're a bubble team trying to take down pros, you have to capitalize on, because it's very easy to just misplay those and say, oh, they gave us a chance, because you're not expecting it. And you know, that's the crazy thing about twos. It's all about that risk management. And Aeon and Nomad said, we're not afraid of you guys, and they were willing to take those risks, and they paid off brilliantly.
Well, that's the thing, is no intimidation shown from the guys on Lights Out in that game number 1, but the question is,
does it hold up?
That's the thing. We talked about it. Always the bridesmaid, never the bride. It's very good to go up 1 in a series, but you know, they're up against a very talented team here. Is this going to be the thing that we're used to seeing coming into the rest of this series? Are we going to see SizzleUrCob come back in this game number 2 now?
Stats say absolutely, but you know, like Shogun said and myself both said, anything can happen. You know, it's not the end of the world for either of these teams should they go down into the lower brackets. So. Could go either way. How do Nomad and Aeon feel after that game 1? They said, look, we feel like we earned that victory, and now you have to go do it again.
Yeah, that's the thing. You don't win a series of Rocket League by winning just the 1 game. Obviously, it's best of 5s here. You've got to win at least 3 to make your way through to the next round. But whatever happens in this next game, from what we've seen from these 2 teams, you don't want to be in that lower bracket right now if one of these teams is going to drop down, because they've both looked very, very impressive. But it's time for our game number 2. Gentlemen, I'm going to throw it back over to you. Take it away one more time.
Thank you very much, on set. And for SizzleUrCob, 1 or 2 things to change in this one, as they have had a bit of a first-round knockdown from Lights Out. Early launch shot. Sizz, though, back after the demo. And Nomad making sure he's got a hold of the boost. He might have almost been caught out chasing down the shiny thing.
It was a great recovery out of the corner, though, by Nomad. I mean, I thought he was out of position, too, but stayed right with it, dove across net. They're playing a great game right now.
Straight back down to Jacob. He's got Sizz available. That's just into the path of Aeon, and this is going to be capitalized.
No.
And we were talking about how Lights Out taking this off would be a surprise. But with the level of aggression that SizzleUrCob are very happy to employ, there's a possibility they can keep getting caught like this. This is how they conceded some of their last goals in the previous game as well.
And again, while it certainly was not the best pass from Jacob out into the midfield, I think Sizz kind of has to realize who they're up against and not dive at everything so quickly as if he's playing against, you know, somebody from Cloud9 or NRG or another world-class team. If you dive all out like that and your teammate's not absolutely perfect, you leave the net wide open. And it's been, yeah, just that level of aggression, I think it's one step too high. You take a little bit out of G2's book right now and you say, look, we'll take what we're given.
Maybe a bit of hot-headedness at this point in time. Sizz forced to try and rotate towards his own net as he defends this. Good first touch. It's over to Jacob. Double tap is going to be hard to pull off, and now Sizz is going to be rotating back to his net once again. He's on 0 boost. And it's exactly 10 seconds since he was last over here. I agree. It's just seems like heavy commitments right now from SizzleUrCob for no very little rewards.
Yeah.
It's like they're expecting a midfield challenge or a lack of reading the game from Lights Out that simply just hasn't turned up yet. Lights Out, though, to their credit, they're not overplaying anything. They're not stretching themselves too far. Good save. 50 boost as well on the backboard. Aeon. That's a very nice recovery from him. That's so much work he could have done. And he's done every single bit of it.
Bit of an awkward second touch, though. Puts him in a bad spot in front of the net, and they do just recover.
There's a clear. Jacob this time will be the solo defender. Another early aerial leaves the 2v1. SizzleUrCob easily able to deal with that one, though. Lights Out. There's very little alarm for them to push forward.
Yeah, they don't have to. This is where you get to see how do they approach being up versus a team like Jacob and Sizz.
So far, the offense from Jacob and Sizz has not been great, but that was just a thing of beauty. Didn't quite go in. Definitely deserved to, though. I have a soft spot for really outrageous team plays.
I do. It's, you know, we see the crossfield pass all the time, but you don't see it coming off the back wall very often. Free chance, Sizz blasts one bar down and in. Finally, it's tied back at ones, but not from lack of trying.
Yeah, Lights Out, this is the first mistake they've made. And it was nothing more than a bad, well, not even necessarily a bad save, but a light save. Yeah. Straight back out into the danger zone. Sizz happy to capitalize on that. And Sizz, when he's actually getting to these opportunities, is doing a very good job of converting them. Just maybe trying to take a few too many. SizzleUrCob can turn this into a ground-based game. I would like their chances just a little bit more. Jacob, out to Sizz.
Goodbye.
Sizz is out to lunch after that one. Awkward bounce and even more awkward bump. Sizz actually might not be able to get that one. Straight down the middle. SizzleUrCob, just get caught.
All right, I want to see if Jacob had this. He had no boost going back down the midfield line. It is crushed up the field. Sizz definitely didn't have it, so yeah, Jacob had to try, and he just didn't have the angle while driving back towards his net to pick up any of the boost. He wasn't coming back on that dead center line to pick up that, you know, 40 or 50 boost or so, and he just couldn't get there.
Has Jacob's changed car, or is that the same one from the last game? That's the same one from the last game, okay. I'm just so not used to seeing it.
Yeah, that werewolf, man. It's a flashy car. I like it.
Jacob follows that one up, and that, well, the offense does stick for SizzleUrCob. That's how dangerous it can be.
And that transition game that we talked about a little bit in game one, it's so quick. There's not much to this. It's just Sizz saying, I don't have much of a play. Jacob's open. Jacob says, yeah, sure, I'll fire one at the net. And he squares it up and says, save it if you can.
SizzleUrCob, that's the first time they've had a 2v1 on the opposite side of the field, and they make it stick very well. Once again, they've got it. This time, opting to just shoot. It's that transition gameplay that we saw earlier on from Lights Out. Doesn't really test the defense too much, but it does keep you safe. Boost stolen. And yet another one. There's going to be very little boost now on the side of Lights Out. The ticking time bomb is on, and Jacobs, he's not going to go for this. Lights Out just trying to scramble for these small boosts.
I think Jacob made the right call, though, there. Said we wanted them to just take a second and take what they were given, and I think he realized even if he went for that, Sizz wasn't going to be ready.
Ceiling shot attempted, straight down the middle to Nomad. Now Sizz, he's got very little boost, and that one just didn't seem to make the decision between shooting and passing.
No, he's definitely going for the pass, just didn't get far enough out to the side. And that's kind of something that they've been trying to do, is this one, air dribble,
this pace
muscles.
Just got so much faster all of a sudden. As soon as we hit the 1 minute remaining mark, both teams just threw everything at each other, and SizzleUrCob might be coming out on top.
And the interesting thing is, I feel Jacob and Sizz have had a couple of opportunities on the offensive net. They have not resulted in shots, but they have had free range.
But isn't that possibly a big note to make, especially following that last one? They've had opportunities that they haven't gone for shots for.
Well,
complete contrast to the last game, where they were just going for half opportunities.
Well, the thing isn't that they haven't had shots because they didn't take them. The thing is that they haven't had shots because they've misplayed them. They've had the opportunity because they haven't been challenged pretty much just outside of the orange box. They've had a lot of space to work with in between that midfield line and that top of the box area, and they've been trying to get all the way around the ball to get those hard infield passes that we like. And Lights Out have not really covered that option particularly well. And I think as soon as you see Sizz and Jacob start to actually nail those passes and get them out to the left or to the right, wherever they're trying to put them, you're going to see a lot more goals from them.
Okay, series tied up at 1-1 then, gentlemen. And we asked for I told you you could take it to the bank. This wasn't going to be a 3-0.
Wasn't necessarily the Joker card. It was more like a 2 of spades. They sort of played down.
It's 100% accurate for like all of my predictions. But game number 2, gentlemen, a very tight affair. But now we have the series tied up at 1-1, and SizzleUrCob managed to just eke that one out.
Yeah, you would have been very afraid of them after seeing this very first goal go in. SizzleUrCob, they're starting to look more comfortable on the offensive side. This one, Sizz just not going to miss that at all. But for Lights Out, I don't know. It's not like I'm looking at Lights Out and not liking what they're doing, but maybe, just maybe, they need to get themselves more involved in the midfield, because they're having a lot of time defending on that back line.
Absolutely. When you're getting outshot 14-3 and you're playing Sizz and Jacob, you know you are not getting out with a 3-2 game in the next one. And if you allow another 14 shots, 6 of them go in.
Yeah, that's the worry for them now. Obviously, back against the walls now for Lights Out. Managed to take that first game, but now we're in our game number 3. This is the swing game we always talk about. A lot of momentum can be gained off of this game number 3 here. How do you see this one going? Because it feels like, at the moment, to me, SizzleUrCob, you know, they've won that last game. They seem to be growing into the series a little bit. Things start to be clicking a little bit more for them towards the end of that second game, especially. That last minute or so was all pressure coming in from them. I feel like this game number 3 is going to almost, if they can get out to a hot start here and continue that momentum from the second game we've just seen, I really feel like they could start to grow a little bit in this series and maybe take this game pretty early on if they can get a couple of goals.
I think the first minute's going to be pretty telling. If it picks up where that last minute finished off and it goes all in favor of SizzleUrCob, might see a blowout. If Lights Out are able to force a neutral game, keep it fairly balanced, get some long clears, play a little 2v2 ping pong, I think things mellow out and you see a pretty low scoring game. But either way, you got to get out there and challenge those balls in front of your box. You cannot let them just have whatever they want, because that's asking for trouble.
How do you see this one, going, Shogun? What's your feelings?
The question's now all on Lights Out, because the very first game, you can accept the way they're playing. They've been playing very defensively, but SizzleUrCob did sort of beat themselves in that one. Now that you've seen that they're starting to settle into it a little bit more, if you do that again, if you go for the same strategy again, SizzleUrCob are just going to get better and better and better. You've got to switch it now. It was a good strategy whilst it was working, but now you've seen SizzleUrCob are much more comfortable. You've got to get away from that now. It's time to go to plan B.
Okay, so time for plan B. Do they have a plan B? That's the question here for Lights Out. Obviously, the series tied up at 1-1. Beautifully balanced here for our last game of the day. The game's about to get underway as well in the background, so we'll get into that as soon as we can. But I just feel like for Lights Out, it's the same story, isn't it? Everything's looking good for them in that game number 1. They lose a close game number 2. Can they bring it back in our game number 3? Let's find out right now and get straight into this game, gentlemen. I believe it's ready. Are we ready? Are we ready?
We
thought we were ready.
Similar to that.
We thought we were ready.
I'm going to time this
They
really
have joined. I've got it right in front of me. They have joined.
So. Are you ready for this?
They're ready.
Go on,
Shogun. You go.
3, 2,
Oh, so close.
Shogun disappointed, like he does so consistently. But anyway, over to you, gentlemen.
That's going to be a good start. Nomad looking for a way past. Aeon straight to the corner. He's going to be giving the ball straight back over to Jacob. Jeeves, you did say the first minute could be very telling, and well, that could be very telling indeed.
Yeah, it doesn't do too much with it. That's a great demo from Sizz in the midfield. Leaves Nomad in the one-on-one, and unfortunately, Jacob didn't outplay him or anything. That first touch was pretty strong. He only had one way to hit it. He just missed it. Unfortunate. But it's all set up by that great Sizz demo in the midfield.
SizzleUrCob have been very active off the ball, and you can see right now they're getting so much more comfortable whenever they get onto it. Jacob, midfield challenge. Just keeps the ball high, invites Sizz to go for a shot. He almost got the block.
You know, if there's one thing that every now and again you see out of Sizz, it is a crazy read on a challenge. The one that sticks in my mind is where he just jumped out of the midfield, just went towards the top of the box. This one finds its way through the defense, though, as 2-0. Aeon just doesn't get it clear.
Yeah, Nomad's just stuck in no man's land.
Pouting.
It's just suffocating right now, the amount of offense coming out from SizzleUrCob. Fake kickoff. Nomad puts a little bit of angle on it. Doesn't make it too simple, but
another one-on-one. Just
kickoff.
Whipped.
Just not often used anymore as an opportunity to score a goal. It's mostly about securing possession of the midfield. Get a hold of those 2 middle boosts.
Actually, I'm curious, since I'm not a big fake kickoff fan, Shogun. What do you think the fake kickoff's good for?
Boost control.
Okay.
That's pretty much a boost and ball control if it's not red. Many players out there, though, getting very good at it. I know there's a couple out there that actually get visibly angry when the fake kickoff works now. Because you can sort of see it coming.
How dare they?
No, basically, the way people often see it coming is there are 2 kickoffs. One where you go for boost, and one where you cheat up. If someone is not doing one of those 2, it's a fake kickoff.
Oh,
good challenge there from Aeon. That's going to go straight over the top, and now 1 goal is the separator. Lights out. Able to get a goal from nowhere.
Yeah, so Jacob, he had a choice to make right there. Does he stick around and wait for the challenge? He didn't exactly know where Sizz went. Maybe he thought Sizz went back to the midfield immediately. Sizz actually went off to the other corner on the orange side to steal the boost. And that's why Sizz wasn't back yet. And Jacob just had to make a choice. Unfortunately, he chose wrong.
Is that going to drop in? No, but the follow-up from Sizz. Almost able to squeeze its way through. Nice challenge again from Jacob. Not dissuaded, despite how the last goal went in. Sizz taking his time. It's going to be a clear. Unchallenged over towards the midfield. They're going to go for this one.
Oh, does he
The transition in the air. Ooh. The double tap not quite around. And Sizz can't quite turn it in as Aeon is there just in time.
Jacob landed and just froze. He was like, I don't want to save it.
Oh, Nomad taken out. For a second there, I thought Nomad had got the demo on Jacob, and I was very confused as to how he managed that. What can only be described as not very fast.
The smokescreen is one of the scariest things for me as a defender in Rocket League. Whenever anyone gets demoed in front of you and you lose sight of the ball, it doesn't matter for how long it is, immediately you take that sharp inhale and you're like, I can't see, I have no idea. It's terrifying.
Attack the smoke.
It's terrifying.
The smoke is more scared of you than you are of it.
I don't know about that.
Sizz tries to block, and Jacob will be around. Potential passing play.
Oh, man.
Sizz keeps it alive. Just sort of sets it back up, and there's going to be over to the side. Oh. Can't quite turn that one in. But that is the danger that SizzleUrCob have got in offense. We saw it earlier on as well. Just haven't quite nailed one of these passing plays, but if they can start getting them right, that is going to be a major threat further down the line.
Yeah, that's really what happens when you see Jacob and Sizz beat you to a challenge that you think you've got. It's like, that's not planned. They're just like, oh, he won a challenge. And they decide to make something happen because of it.
Sizz. Let's follow that as Jacob just launches. Sizz is still trying for it. And all they're trying to do here is just displace. Get an opportunity where there's nobody left in net.
Oh, this is bad. This is a weird one.
Old school Rocket League that we're seeing from SizzleUrCob, where not necessarily trying to create a quality challenge, just trying to beat you to the ball so many times that eventually there's no one left.
Timing there a little bit off out in front of the orange box from SizzleUrCob because Jacob missed the boost back on the blue half.
Aeon. Sizz, straight back down the middle. 40 seconds remaining now. SizzleUrCob still playing this one like they're a goal behind.
Oh, and they're waiting. Oh, I love it.
I think that's the first time Jacob's seen a potential challenge and said no to it.
Great touch.
Pushes that one straight on. Nomad. 100 boost. He's got to try and make something of this, but that's just too easily read by Jacob. Right down the middle, and Aeon with the most calculated of saves.
Now, here's the thing. I know Jacob can put that anywhere in the net, but I think he just wanted to make sure he got that one on target, because he's tried that shot a couple of times in this series, and I think he got fed up with missing it. So he said, look, let's make sure it's on frame and worry about placement later. Oh, that didn't hit the ground. Sizz is going to have to scramble a little bit. This got a little bit more dangerous than they were expecting.
Bounce up. Sizz still trying to get to hit the floor.
Okay.
And it finally will. SizzleUrCob on match point.
Very much on match point, gentlemen. 2-1 now to SizzleUrCob. A very attritional game once again, though. Really, both teams just not giving anything at the moment. It's just a few moments in each game. It's a game of very few chances as well. It just seems to be who can just take that chance when it comes along.
And the problem is you also get more chances from Sizz and Jacob again. They outshot their opposition by about 5 shots. So they're kind of just walking all over Aeon and him. Okay, that's not true. Walking all over is the wrong thing. But the fact that they're able to exert that much more pressure than their opposition is a scary thought. Because if you're Aeon and Nomad, you're thinking, look, we're actually playing pretty decent Rocket League. And at this point, you're thinking maybe it's just not enough.
Yeah, there's one thing I would like to see. I praised Lights Out ability to transition from defense to offense during the very first game, but now they've done it too often. They are too often trying to play their way out, and that is resulting in SizzleUrCob reading it. They are now challenging more and more and more in that final third. They're sending Jacob, who I don't think is... I mean, he takes time in his own side of the field just to sort of say hi to Sizz, and then he immediately turns around and goes for another challenge. There needs to be a bit more variance from Lights Out, because every single time they try and play it out, it's becoming a little bit too obvious, and Jacob's right in front of their faces. I know we often complain when people just launch the ball away, but sometimes you kind of have to do that just to let someone know that that's a possibility.
Yeah, that's exactly the point I was going to make. You're talking about how you've got to mix things up sometimes. You were talking about mixing up speed earlier. Sometimes you've got to try and be a little bit unpredictable, or at least offer away from what you are trying to do sometimes, just to create that element of doubt.
And more often than not, like most of the time, people aren't just launching the ball away just to change things up. They're launching it so they can get their own team all on the same page. They're like, look, you've got 100 boost, I've got 20. I need to launch this away so that we both have maybe around 60 when things start to go back into challenge mode in the midfield, so that they're just ready to go for whatever happens. Because we've seen it already plenty of times today. It's just disjointed on offense or defense, leaves somebody in a bad spot. And I think any good team realizes that, look, we just have to get this ball out of here so we can all get on the same page. And Lights Out, they're trying to make every opportunity, regardless of what the situation for their team work. And while that does work, we saw King Doom use it versus Allegiance somehow. But it doesn't always work, unfortunately.
It doesn't always work, but we are nicely balanced at the moment. Just a reminder, this is series point. This is one game away now for SizzleUrCob to take this series and send Lights Out down to our lower bracket. The players are loaded in at the moment. Shogun, do you feel like this could be potentially our last game of the day?
No. Well, actually, yes. Sorry, I got a little confused there.
You're right there,
we need to see Lights Out think of something new. I'm very glad that the analysis side of this basically came down to, you know, keep doing what you're doing, but please, on occasion, hit the ball really hard.
Hit the ball really hard sometimes.
It's very much a case of Jacob sort of expressing himself in that final third right now. Doing pretty much whatever he wants. Sizz. Good first flick, straight over to Jacob. And able to beat. Sizz taking his time. There's the late flick. That's the danger of the Batmobile. And he does get a bump as well. SizzleUrCob just returning to exactly where they were earlier on. Just stuck in this final third. And Lights Out. Well, I said I want them to hit it hard. You're not going to be able to do that on zero boost.
It's just that pressure. That's why Jacob and Sizz are so dangerous out of the midfield. They're never uncoordinated while on offense. Oh my goodness!
That is a thing of absolute beauty. Onset claps off camera. I'm going to clap as well.
Oh, what a...
Unreal.
I don't have to say anything. That's a sick shot.
This is using the in-game chat just off camera, but there were some profanities in that one. I'll tell you what, well deserved.
Well, he nailed that one. Oh, this one's so... Oh, wait, is it free? Oh, yeah, of course it is. Yes, it's free. Why wouldn't it be?
Now, here's the question. Was there a jump? Was there a backflip? Or is this a clean doink.
It's pretty clean. It's a clean doink, I think. Upon closer inspection, call in the field is confirmed.
VAR has been used.
Ooh, hello.
Jacob tried to be a little bit tricky with that one, and Sizz with the follow-up.
Oh, they're having fun.
And they are just dominating in game number 4.
You can tell. That's the funny thing about a team like Jacob and Sizz. When there's two players like these, whenever you see Jacob and Sizz on camera, they're two of the most energetic, hype people you can possibly imagine. They're so much fun to be around, and you can tell when they're having fun in Rocket League because they'll just do silly things for no reason.
They're very, very much the team that you want to see as an opponent not start to get things right.
Yes.
Because the more they get wrong, obviously, they can't really get the wheels going. But once they start getting that momentum,
it just goes.
There's no team, I believe, in this tournament that can snowball harder. So that's going to be 1 goal back there for Lights Out. Nomad being a little bit cheeky himself.
And, you know, I'm pretty skeptical about how we use the term, you know, momentum in Rocket League. But if there was a team that just... in terms of how we started off the show, you remember how Onset was like, you know, it's disappointing that it's not just me. And he buys into his own hype. If there was a team that bought into their own hype, it's SizzleUrCob, but who cares? In about 10 seconds, they're back within 1. They win a clean kickoff, and Aeon just has Jacob straight up beat on the challenge angle. Nomad
with what can only be described as the cheekiest of kickoff. I've never seen someone slow down on the side kickoff. That's exactly what he did to try and force that ball to be just killed, but on the same side as the orange. Now Nomad might be able to get 1 more. Sizz, though, with the block. I do agree with you. I believe SizzleUrCob gets stronger the more times Sizz shouts, "I'm nuts."
Exactly. It's like...
Oh, wow. Is there 1 more here? There's the bubble!
Oh, he got it!
Sizz didn't know a thing about that. He's got the double save. You get credit for the second one there, Sizz. Maybe not the first.
Now they're under a ton of pressure here.
Lights Out are just really... Like, someone just told them, yo, lads, you are on the verge of being knocked down to a loser's bracket. Follow-up from Nomad. Keep that one just above his own net. Sizz's shot. You just saw the double commit. Maybe a chance for Lights Out to get a little bit antsy. Still loads of time left in this match, and suddenly the pace has gone up to 11.
Oh, yeah. That's the fun part, you know. We're talking about how Jacob and Sizz have a lot more fun when everything's going right. Is this one almost saved? Sizz just takes it away off the hood of one player, and it finds its way into the corner.
These early challenges from SizzleUrCob are just wreaking havoc every single time Lights Out think they've got an opportunity to control. Just immediately challenged, and some of them just going too far away. So now 2 goals difference re-established.
But as I was saying, you know, Jacob and Sizz, when they start to have fun, you get a little scared. And what's been impressive from Lights Out this game is how quickly they stopped that. They went right back into try-hard mode, and they needed to punch that one in. Thankfully, Sizz dives at one that went off the wall, and Aeon gets a freebie, and it's still 1 goal down. Yeah,
Jacob accidentally trapping the ball against the wall. Sizz can't do a single thing about that, and now we're back down to 1 singular goal.
Credit to Lights Out. We're sitting here like Jacob and Sizz are insane. And I think we're kind of doing Lights Out a disservice by saying how well they've played to keep it this close.
There's going to be their opportunity to tie the game up. 4 goals apiece. Lights Out are just taking their opportunities, and so many of them are coming off kickoffs.
Yeah.
It's a strong suit.
I want to see Game 5 at this point. You know, I think Jacob and Sizz still make the Worlds, but I just want to see him play another game. This has been a much better series than I was anticipating.
Fake kickoff from the side. Achievement unlocked. Aeon, 7 goals, 11 saves. He's going to need to find that 8 from somewhere.
We talk about how you need to change things up, and we talked about it plenty last game. Why not throw in the old fake kickoff, you know?
I've not seen it from the center, if I'm being, the side kickoff. It's always a double center. So, congratulations. You've done something I've never seen before.
And the cool thing
was... What are these kickoffs? Nomad tried to pause his again. This is a ones game at this point with these kickoffs.
It's the Ultra Mind game now.
We've seen something different every single week of this tournament. I've never seen a game which has turned into a rock, paper, scissors battle between these teams.
Great catch. And the power slide hold to keep the momentum. Jacob, that was clean.
Good flick. Sizz has got the follow. Can't make the angle. 1 goal still the difference. Past one, Nomad. How much boost he's got? Doesn't seem like much at all. Just confirmed to us right there. He is on absolutely nothing, but Aeon pushes the corner. 52 for him. Jacob's on 100, and he is just taking his time. Didn't get bumped either. Nomad versus Jacob.
And that play from Jacob. Oh, one-on-one here.
Good block. Nomad. Didn't steal the boost. That's going to put a time limit on this play. And that time limit is no time at all. Jacob just went forward, and it just seemed like the gates opened up for him.
Aeon tried to steal the boost from him, and he missed it to top it all off. Oh, no. It's like Jacob was a little bit too far away for that to work.
I think Aeon was just trying to be a little bit too smart there.
Or actually,
thinking that Jacob was going up the wall.
Well, I don't know. Jacob wasn't angled to really go up the wall. Jacob had a couple different options. He could have went up the wall.
That's another kickoff. You know what? I'm actually impressed with these kickoff goals, though. Like, unlike usual, we see another fake kickoff right down the middle. Now, one thing I will start criticizing, lights out. Just check the off kickoff player. If he's in the middle, it's a fake kickoff.
Mind-blowing.
See, this one is not, because you can see Sizz. I can see why the pros get upset now. now that I've been informed of it, and I'm seeing it myself. Very upsetting.
You know, it's amazing how quickly the tension in this game disappeared.
Yeah.
They were one goal apart, you know, back at the 2-minute mark. It hit 50 seconds. Okay. I mean, still, there's a 2-goal gap with 20 seconds. Nomad could put this one in all he wants.
I don't know. With this kickoff game we're seeing right now, I think someone's got a joker left in there.
You think the joker card's coming?
I think the good old double fake kickoff.
The double
Nobody
fake
hits the ball.
Okay. Wrong.
So I'm waiting for the time that Jacob tries to fake it and Nomad goes for his late kickoff. I want to see what happens. Unfortunately, it doesn't quite look like we're going to get it.
I'm sad we don't get Game 5. I really wanted to see one more game between these guys. Just because...
Oh, Aeon will manage it.
Why not?
A much more flattering scoreline, 7 goals to 6. But SizzleUrCob are going to be going through to Thursday's qualification games.
And you know, it was a great series. A lot better than I thought. I thought it might have been, you know, it still was a 3-1. Maybe the most I was expecting out of this one, but I didn't think it was going to be a tight 3-1. And,
It was a crazy series. It was a great series. It was an entertaining series, and it was a series that kind of grew from what was kind of a stalemate at the start, teams feeling each other out a little bit, to an incredibly entertaining series towards the end. That game, number 4, I mean, 7-6, you know, maybe slightly flattered lights out at the end with a few goals that they managed to get at the end. But, you know, SizzleUrCob. And, I mean, I just want to talk about one moment in that game. I think you both know what it is. Jacob!
It was a great shot. It was nuts. That was an awesome shot.
Jacob's been on form recently. He's been hitting 15-game win streaks in ranked. He is just... I think he's starting to feel it again. We haven't seen Jacob really start to feel it ever since Season 3.
Season 3. Oh, man. That was the high time. That shot right there, that's the one that gets the engine going. And then that one to follow it up so soon after, Jacob's saying, let's go. And Sizz is like, all right, if you want to. And it felt like this game was going to be over at the start. And this was what I was impressed about. Almost, you know, 20 seconds later, Aeon and Nomad fight their way right back into this game number 4. They shut all that hype and all that having fun energy down and forced Jacob and Sizz to play a good, clean game of Rocket League. And to be fair, Lights Out, they almost did it.
Yeah, I think Lights Out definitely started to figure it out towards the very last few seconds, but by that point the damage was already done. The way I would describe this one to you on set is, we saw the first game happen, and then we saw SizzleUrCob respond and change their playstyle based upon what they were seeing from Lights Out. We didn't see Lights Out do that until halfway through Game 4, and that was the difference.
Yeah, a little bit too late at that point, but an absolute goal fest to obviously end off the day number 1 here. It's exactly what we want to see. It's always what we want to see. We want to see as many goals as possible. And of course, I believe there were 89 goals in total today. So not bad, not decent. We had some 3-0s, so obviously that's going to shorten the...
I blame G2.
The goal potential, should we say.
Goals.
But thanks to our fantastic partners over at Soylent, that means 890 meals will be going to the World Food Programme USA, of course, for the final time tonight. If you want to get involved, and we hope that you do, head over to wfpusa.org/Universal Open. Fantastic cause, and thanks again to to our partners over at Soylent for supporting that. But I mean, there's the next part I'm excited about, because we've had undoubtedly, which was the goal of the day there from Jacob, in my opinion. But we got to talk about assist of the day, gentlemen. It's a State Farm assist of the day. Now, are we going to be like?
How can it not be?
I was going to say, like, is there a better assist today? Obviously, you know that the goal was fantastic, but I mean, what are you thinking?
I don't know if we've seen a super mind-blowing assist today. You know,
we saw a couple of attempts for it in games 1 and 2 from SizzleUrCob, but not necessarily too mind-exploding. There was a lot of individual goals today.
Yeah,
J-Bot as well.
Yeah, J-Bot
did a lot of individual stuff. So, yeah, I have to agree that last one probably it.
Is that what you're going for? Okay, well, let's find out what our State Farm assist of the day was. Here it comes.
Okay, yeah.
And it's been given away.
Spoilers.
It's been given away early. Spoilers if you're watching. Han Solo dies, but you can see it here. It was a absolutely.
Oh, okay.
Not the one we thought. It wasn't the one we thought. We got tricked. We got duped.
The game we thought, not the one we thought. But actually, that is a great assist play, because it does come off of that fake kickoff. And the reason that play works is because Sizz immediately goes for that fake kickoff. Lights Out is thinking, okay, we're just going for this regular kickoff. They hit it right to the person sitting in goal. And they've got the guy lined up for the pass on the right-hand side.
I can guarantee you that kickoff would never work against me, because for that to happen, they've got to know that ball's going down the middle. I don't know where my ball is going when I go for a kickoff. There ain't a chance that is working.
You just jump, twist, and spin.
I
am
going as fast as long as I get the first touch points. I don't care about anything else.
Okay.
I respect it, Shogun. That's why I love you. But I got to give some props to production there, completely duping us out of what we thought was going to be assist of the day. But let's have a look at the British bracket update for the final time today to see how things have turned out on day 1 here of the Western Closed qualifiers. You can see on the right-hand side, we've got G2 Esports taking on Applesauce, which will be for that qualification spot. That will be on Thursday. The same as SizzleUrCob versus CLG. Tomorrow will be all about this lower bracket, though. We'll have Smiley taking on Team Sub RL, and then we have Lights Out taking on Ghost Gaming, the Rejects taking on Fierce Pelicans, and finally Genesis taking on Lethality, which will be a very, very exciting game, gentlemen. But tomorrow, I love the second day of these, because it's kind of like the go big or go home day, isn't it?
Oh, yeah. In accordance to the seeding, the winners bracket worked out pretty well, except the 3-0 loss by Ghost Gaming to the Rejects. But that lower bracket tomorrow, ooh, there's going to be some tight games. Lights Out versus Ghost Gaming is going to be nuts. And tomorrow's going to be a lot of fun, to say the least.
What are you looking forward to most out of those games we've got coming up tomorrow, Shogi?
So every single time we have day number 2, we sort of see, this is our opportunity to sort of explore some of these teams a little bit more that we're less familiar with. Every single week we've done this, we always get those 2 teams out there that we just go, oh, I really like you. Could you maybe cause the upset and go the whole way? So see whether or not it can happen.
Well, of course, we always want you guys to be involved. Let us know what you think is going to happen tomorrow, as well as if you're happy with some of the teams who are fighting out for the qualification spots on Thursday as well. You can follow us over at Universal Open, and don't forget to use the hashtag Shogun.
UOS2.
Absolutely
nailed it. You didn't even see
my
eyes go, oh no.
You knew it was coming, because I've become too predictable. I'll mix it up for tomorrow. Don't worry about it.
He'll ask himself.
But any final thoughts on today, gentlemen?
Oh, final thoughts on today. I think this is the first day 1 where everything went pretty much according to plan. So I'm a little bit shocked, but I'm excited for day 2.
And Shogun?
I really want to see SizzleUrCob versus G2, because that is like chaotic evil versus just lawful good.
Neutral good. It's like, yeah.
It's like the most calm team out there versus just
hit the ball really hard.
Primal screaming.
Sounds like a terrible Primal Screen cover band. But anyway, that's going to do it all from today. Of course, we will be back the same time tomorrow, so make sure you tune in for day 2 of the Universal Open Western qualifiers. That's going to do it all for us for today, though. Thank you so much for joining. We will see you tomorrow, and have a good evening.